Welcome to Advanced Vedic Mathematics course, Lesson 20, which is about multiplication and reflection pairing, operation, which helps reach at neat steps proof of Fermat's last theorem. We know that Fermat's last theorem absorbed modern mind for centuries, and now if we have a fresh visit, we see that it is taken as a numbers theory feature, as that n cube cannot be split into a pair of cubes of numbers, and likewise happens about the higher powers. Numbers have basic operation of addition. Even the multiplication as well is taken as if it is a repeated addition. The reach from addition to subtraction is as if we are moving in the reverse orientation, and likewise is in respect of the division. In fact, this whole approach to numbers is as that, as is the Peano's axiom, we require and we have to reach from n to n plus 1 and so on. This in fact is the linear progression rule, which is insisting that addition shall always say of 3 square plus 2 cube as 17 is to be as addition, step-by-step addition at the base. By it we mean that 3 square is to be written 9 as steps 1 to 9, 2 cube is to be as 8 is to be written as 1 to 8 steps, and for addition of 3 square and 2 cube is to be taken that as the first step we have to reach 1 to 9, and then we reach at further 8 steps from 10 to 17. This is being taken addition at the base, and 3 square as well is reduced to 1 to 9 as 1 by 1 addition at the base. Likewise 1 to 8, and for addition as well as 1 to 17. Everything is being taken as happening at the base. This in one way can be said that we are reducing squares, linear units or solid units or even of higher units as the linear units, and so this way we want to progress only on a line. We want to make a line, though it may be as a square, then is a cube, so it may be a different sort of a line, but we want to take it as a linear line. This is called the addition operation and multiplication operations unified base, taking it to be an addition at the base, or progressing from n to n plus 1 at the line. So line, which in fact is one space as an axis of 3 space as a domain, is reducing areas, volumes, all into the length units. And it is this insistence which had been responsible for blocking the mental mind, modern mind, for such a large number of centuries. If it is to be taken as that multiplication is not only an addition at the base, but the same as well is an addition at the index. By this means, if we want to go for n square, we can also go as n raised per 1 into n raised per 1 is equal to n square, that is equal to n is 1 plus 1, that is, it is going to be an addition at the index. It is this feature which is being not appreciated properly and is being not applied, and because of it, the modern mind, modern mathematics, modern systems, and modern success for, and in context of Fermat's last theorem for its proof, has taken such a large number of years, centuries, and the steps as well have been very large, and the attempts have also have been manifold. Naturally, it has to be this. It has happened like this. Now let us see that if we look this problem and these operations from Vedic mathematics glasses, then we see the very first sutra is Eka Adhikain Urvain, which accepts a translation, a reach from n to n plus 1. But it is nowhere written here that this is to follow only at the base, and same is not to be taken to the index. In any way, the sutras simultaneously have 14th sutra, which says Ek New Nain Urve. It says a reach from n to n minus 1. Let me have a pause here. Let me caution it to me, to myself, and all my readers, the listeners, the sadhakas. Dear sadhakas, see, if we want to reach from a particular point a step ahead or at a step 4 less, then this situation in one way can be looked at as if we are sequentially progressing along a line and we are sequentially decreasing along a line, but we have to be careful that this is an orientation, this as well as the orientation, and these orientations may be with respect to a line, but both are the orientations, and when these orientations get superimposed and when these orientations neutralize themselves, they be making a neutral line without an orientation, and it will remain a line, but what will be the difference? That orientation in both cases has been different, and if we want to disintegrate or we want to resynthesize, then we will be having a situations like 0, +1 and -1, and the gap between +1 and -1 is 2, and it is of dimension to domain 0 space as dimension and 2 space as domain. 0 number as a whole number is a number like any other numbers, and so if there are 2 zeros and if there are 2 ones, then these 2 zeros as a pair of dimensions of 0 order, then these will synthesize 2 space as a domain, like this pair of dimensions will lead to 3 space. So when we are not appreciating the existence of 0 as a whole number, and on the other hand we are approaching 1 as a whole number, and we are working with it as a dimension or a domain as well, then we are from here actually working and reaching at 3. So it is the linear axis 3-dimensional frame. It is being taken as if we are entering the physical space, making domain like this. But whether 0 reaches a 2 space, a plane as a domain, as such becomes ignored. It is being not comprehended well. It is being not appreciated. And this non-appreciation as that this phenomenon is also a geometrical phenomenon, and it is being missed by the modern system. And now when we revert to the Vedic mathematics, then it is a creator's space mathematics. It is of a spatial order, and dimension of dimension is a 0 space. So when we are within a 4 space and we are working with a plane, then within a plane, line can convert into a curve, and the change of orientation within the plane is permissible, while the change of orientation along the line is not permissible. This non-permissibility along the line and this permissibility within the plane is the feature which deserves to be appreciated well. Now let us, in this background, see that if we say the first case of Fermat's last theorem as that n cube, a number whose this number, here is a number, here is a cube of it, it cannot be split into alpha cube, another cube of a number, plus this. As far as these two are concerned, alpha equal to beta will of its own make it that this n cube is equal to alpha cube plus beta cube will lead to 2 alpha cube, and same will lead to n is equal to cube root of 2 into alpha, and it is being not a whole number, so the impossibility, and hence this situation stands ruled out. Now the case taken to be that we have to work out n cube is equal to alpha cube plus beta cube, where alpha is not equal to beta. So taking that b is a smaller, say alpha is greater than a beta. Now if we have this case in our mind, then now let us, instead of n cube as a number, let us take it as a cube as a geometric body. This cube, a cube, with length a, breadth a, and volume a as a cube. See, if we see the structures of this cube, then the outer envelope is having 8 corner points. There are 12 edges and there are 6 surfaces. And this makes in all 26. These 26 components, structural components, make the geometric envelope of a cube, or a geometric envelope which is having a volume. This volume, say if it is equal to x cube, a cube to x cube will require 26 another components. Let us revisit this particular structure. See, if we are having a cube, then let us draw length a, length b, and height as well as a. Now this a cube, here is the volume, and there are 8 corner points, there are 12 edges, there are 6 surfaces, and there is 1 volume. So in all there are 27 components. See now, if want to take it that if this is length is a, we will be having 8 a raised to power 0, then 12 a raised to power 1, 6 a square, and there would be 1 a cube. This you see is taking us to a plus 2 raised to power 3. Beautiful. We had a cube and it has given us a plus 2 cube structures, or in another way that a cube as structural cube will lead us to a minus 2 cube as a volume. It is this feature which will straightway help us, as that if we say that z cube is equal to x cube plus y cube, then it will lead to z minus 2 cube as a volume to x minus 2 cube plus y minus 2 cube. Step ahead, it will lead us to z minus 4 cube is equal to x minus 4 cube plus y minus 4 cube, and we can go on till it becomes a 0. So it will be exhausted. So it will lead us to z minus, say, n equal to cube equal to x minus say n cube or z is equal to x, which is not our presumption because we had taken it that x and y means they are not equal. If they are equal, then they lead to a contradiction as 2 raised to power cube root of 2 is not a whole number, and hence whole presumption that we can have like this is a wrong presumption. It stands contradicted, and once it is contradicted, so we reject that cube cannot be split. Cube cannot be split into a pair of cubes. Non-split of a cube into a pair of cubes is a feature which will further help us that if we want to take it a raised to power 3 as a raised to power 4 form, then we have to take it here in such a way that 3 shall be in a position to be written as a fourth power, and so it will be 3 into 4. So if we, instead of unit as a length, we will take 3 or 4 as a things, then this very equation will become a raised to power 4 is to x raised to power 4 plus b raised to power 4 convertible into a raised to power 3 into b raised to power 3 plus y raised to power 3, and the same is an impossibility, and same will be an impossibility for instead of 4 taking it any n. The only question now which may absorb the mind is how is it that a square is not coming within this transformation. The fact is that we have already seen that 0 space is the dimension of a 2 space, while 1 space is the dimension of a 3 space. So when we take our numbers are simply nothing but a linear units, and these are not the linear not the euro units. So as far as the euro units are concerned, they are not obedient to this discipline, and the discipline only of the linear order is at work. So modern mathematics problem of numbers, as we have taken it as Fermat's last theorem, is a theorem of a linear order when we are trying to have operations of addition, operation, and multiplication, etc., only as linear units. Then this situation, as it is called Fermat's last theorem, z raised to power n is not equal to x raised to power n plus y raised to power n for n greater than equal to 3 arises. See here, let us have a pause here, and let us see as to how the Vedic mathematics, when is approaching the numbers as a Sankhya system and Sthapatya as a geometric formats, and when we have Sankhya and Yoga, the Sthapatya of a common reach, as is Gita 3.3 and 5.5, and when we apply to 4 space, then it is within 4 space. This all thing happens, and this impossibility of a split for a cube into pair of cubes or nth cubes into the pair of nth cubes, this as such brings us face to face with as to we have to revisit our whole numbers. We have to revisit with our dimensional spaces. we have to revisit how the dimensional frames synthesize themselves and how these disintegrate. It is this synthesis and disintegration. So synthesis and disintegration of the dimensional frame is the feature which is to be comprehended well for all those sadhakas who want to be parallel with Vedic systems. It happens within a creator's space, that is within a four space, and this four space situation is of a spatial order, and it is having a transcendental seal which is of a solid order. And when explosion takes place, that is when Visphot happens, that is of TC value 29, that is Brahma, that is creator the supreme, that is the creator space of 2 raised to power 4 dimension having a reverse orientation like this, while 9 is having 3 square and 8 is having a 2 cube. So it is this reflection pair system which is to be learnt. One is to be parallel with it, and then we have to shift from single digit numbers like 1, 2, 3, and when we reach at 10, a double digit number, and when we transform whole numbers as a double digit numbers, then we see that instead of 1, we are taking 0 as a number, a first number, and this becomes a second number. So 1 becoming 2 would mean if we have 1, 2, 3, say 9, and we see their factors, it will be 1, 1, 2, for 5 again 1, for 6 again 2, because 3, 2, then 7, 8 will give us again 3, 2 raised to 3, 9 will give us 2, and for 10 again 2. So these 1 to 10 numbers will give us 16 factors. And if instead of it, if we have 1 cross 1, 1 cross 2, 1 cross 3, and 1 cross 10, then here we are having 2 factors, and like that 10 factors will increase and we will reach at 26. Let us have a pause. Here we are having 1 to 16 as factors, and here we are having 2 to 26 as factors. It is this situation which is to be managed, which is being managed by the factors to be taken into account. These factors, when 1 to 10, give us 1 to 16, 6 extra. And when this is written as A, Ja, A, it is 1, 4, and 6. It is said, A Janma. There is none to give it a birth. It has its birth of its own. This is Gita, chapter 4, 5. And from here, the knowledge of the creator's space, four space, comes into that God, the Lord, is who has birth of its own. He's not taking a birth like the birth being taken by others, like the numbers. Numbers 1 to 10 have their birth by a sequence one more than before, but the factors 1 to 16 give rise to the birth to 6 of their own. They are not by this rule of 1 to 10. They are inherently inbuilt here. It is this inherent inbuilt feature which is to be followed, and by following it only, we will be in a position to see as to how when this single digits numbers also accommodate 0, and when from here we reach at the double digit numbers, and if we absorb double digit numbers of 10 place value system, say 01 to 09 to 99, it will be giving rise to 29 reflection pairs. We will be coming to it in the next lesson, and it will help us appreciate how to transit from Sutra 1 to Sutra 2. The Sutra 1, Ekadiken Purve, is having 2 words, but here we are having 3 words. And the third sutra will give us only 1 word. And when these 6 will be available for all the 3, it will make it 18. And when this is also taken to be as the 3 special pairs, it will give us to 26. So like that, the split of the finite groups as 18 series and 26 sporadic groups, when go unmanaged, unhandled, and when they appear to being mismanaged or disorganized, non-obedient or sporadic, then simply it is that we are insisting to apply the rule of a linear order, and we want that all squares and cubes as well should be lines, while the fact is otherwise. So our insistence to take domains to dimensions is an artificial, and we have to take Sutra 1 as Sutra 14 to be distinct sutras. Here we are at dimension, here we are at domain, and a difference between +1 and -1 is 2, and it is this 2 which is for the 0 as a neutralized dimension. All these things deserve to be absorbed, comprehended, appreciated, imbibed, and to be worked out. And then, in terms of it, we will be very blissfully at very neat steps for the proof of the Fermat's last theorem, like many other problems of the modern mathematics, which are artificial because of the artificial axioms being accepted by the modern mathematics. Let us go to the shelter of Vedic mathematics of Ganita Sutras. Thank you very much.